Hello and welcome to What the F Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Friday, June 4th, 2021. Welcome to day 136. The economy added 559,000 jobs last month, double April's total. The unemployment rate fell to 5.8%, down from 6.1%. But despite the gains, the U.S. has only replaced two-thirds of the jobs that were lost last year, about 7.4 million jobs shy of where it was in February 2020. Biden defended the jobs gains, which were less than the 650,000 jobs that economists had predicted, saying you can't reboot the world's largest economy like flipping on a light switch. This is progress that's pulling our economy out of the worst crisis in the last 100 years. He added, "We're on the right track, our plan is working, and we're not going to let up now." Meanwhile, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky urged parents to vaccinate their teenagers against COVID-19, citing a rise in the number of teens who are being hospitalized with the disease. The number of hospitalizations related to COVID-19 among U.S. teenagers in March and April was about 3 times higher than hospitalization rates during the last 3 flu seasons. Much of this suffering can be prevented, Walensky said. Vaccination is our way out of this pandemic. Dr. Ann Schuchat, the number 2 official at the CDC, said the U.S. response to the coronavirus pandemic wasn't a good performance and that there's still a lot of work to do to get better prepared for the next one. Schuchat is retiring this summer after 33 years at the agency. Moving on, former White House counsel Don McGahn testified before the House Judiciary Committee about Trump's attempts to obstruct the Russia investigation 2 years after House Democrats originally sought his testimony. The committee first asked to interview McGahn in 2019, but the Trump White House blocked him from appearing, citing a Justice Department Office of Legal Counsel opinion. McGahn was the most cited witness in the Mueller report. Meanwhile, the senior vice president and controller at the Trump Organization testified before a special grand jury convened by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Jeff McConney is among a number of witnesses that have already appeared before the special grand jury, which will decide whether criminal charges are warranted against Trump, his company, or his employees. Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance has been investigating whether Trump inflated the value of assets to obtain bank loans and then deflated the value of those same assets to get tax breaks. Mike Pence, meanwhile, called the January 6th pro-Trump riot on the Capitol a dark day in the history of the United States and said that he doubts that he'll ever see eye-to-eye with Trump on the event. Despite distancing himself from Trump, Pence said he was proud of what we accomplished for the American people over the last 4 years. He then accused Democrats of using the riot to divide the country in order to advance their radical agenda, including what he called the left-wing myth of systemic racism. 2 days after Biden attended a commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa race massacre, Pence asserted that America is not a racist country. And finally, Trump's Facebook account will remain suspended until at least January 2023 and will only be reinstated if the risk to public safety has receded. The decision comes after Facebook's oversight board said the platform was justified in removing Trump's account following the Capitol insurrection on January 6th, but said that it had been wrong to impose an indefinite ban. Facebook said that when the suspension is eventually lifted, Trump would be subject to a set of rapidly escalating sanctions for further violations, including the permanent suspension of his account. Trump sent an emailed statement complaining that the ruling is an insult and saying that the social media company shouldn't be allowed to get away with this censoring and silencing. In a second emailed statement, Trump vowed that he would not dine privately with Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg the next time I'm in the White House, adding, "It will be all business." That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.